From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey everyone, it's Caroline Gant.
Hey everyone, Austin Lowen.
And hi, it's Tyler Blankenship.
Yes, it is.
A little slow in the last name, but we're
Tyler
good.
Blankenship.
He's here.
Yeah, I'm having a slow start to my week.
That's okay. It's springtime. And y'all, it's officially spring.
A fish. Mm-hmm. And we all
Spring is
three
here.
have Mondays off, so it's Tuesday right now. We are talking to you. Yesterday we were all at home. I was outside. I've already told you this. I was outside all day long. I didn't even go inside. There's like laundry to do, dishes to do, and I'm like, nah.
Nope, not during the
today.
spring.
It was nice. It was windy yesterday. Wow.
It was. It blew some stuff over at my house.
Oh my God, my switchgrass were just bent over like all day long.
Oh yeah, mine were blowing in the wind.
You
I
haven't
need to
trimmed
cut
yours
'em.
back yet, Austin?
Just did last night,
Okay,
Tyler. Got the
okay.
girls involved. I had them ponytail it up for me and hold it at the top, chopped it, and they threw it in the woods.
Nice.
Proud of them.
I need to do that. Can I pay them to come over and do it at mine?
Yeah, pay them in like,
Candy.
not candy.
I will pay them in candy. I got to get mine done because it's growing fast. Before I know it, it's going to be too tall.
Yours
And then
isn't
I
even
will
all
do-
that thick. You could just cut yours.
Mine is thick.
It's not that thick yet.
It is.
can't be.
It is.
How thick? Well, you can't do your hand gestures. People can't understand that. Is it really that wide, though?
It's
You're
the
saying like
size
a
of
foot,
a,
foot and a half wide?
Yeah.
Wow. It does grow quick. I don't know why I'm even thinking that can't happen. It does.
No, they're big. They're chonky. Mm-hmm. I'm worried that I'm going to have to separate them one day soon.
Nah.
It's going to be hard.
No, they'll be fine.
If
you
you
separate
wanna-
no switch?
If you want to see a video on them cutting back switchgrass from last year, check out the Bates Nursery YouTube for that little.
You know what I was thinking about yesterday too is that day when we did that, it was insanely windy as
Yep.
well. I mean, it may not have been. I did it yesterday on a windy day, but like, yeah, I remember there was just Caroline. Yeah, thanks. I remembered this. I chopped them and you just threw them up in the air.
You
and
were
they just,
moving so fast.
They just went everywhere.
We got to break it down for everybody because a lot of these listeners have not seen the video yet. It is also on the Gardening Inside Out Instagram page, so check that out. But we went around, and like Austin was talking about, how he had his daughters hold him. I held him, but he wanted to move really quickly. So as soon as he cut it, I threw him up in the air. It was windy. They went everywhere, but I had to get to the next one. I also didn't want to get chopped.
It was.
And then he was so annoyed.
Spread
by the
about
end.
all over my yard. Took me like 3 weeks of mowing to get that cleaned up. Good Lord. Tyler, what'd you do yesterday, man?
What did I do? I did a lot of running around, not much.
Like jogging?
No, like errands, like in a car. It was a lot of. I did, get some things, but when I got home, I did go out in the backyard. I sat in my patio, enjoyed the breeze, looked at my plants, also watered the plants in my greenhouse. Checked on my citrus. I've got a little bit of a bug problem in my greenhouse. I've been
talked about
pleasantly ignoring it so far, but if I do want my plants to successfully fruit, I'm going to need to.
You're going to need to smash those.
Yeah.
Hey, are your bananas coming up at all yet?
They are actually a little bit, they're not stirring very much. They kind
It's
of.
not a bad thing. It's
No.
still a little early.
Well,
for 'em,
yeah,
I think.
they have kind of roused earlier in the past couple of years. And so I'm wondering, well, I didn't mulch them this year. So I'm going to see how that did, if it killed back more, with that January cold
Doesn't
freeze.
seem like it would. Those things are so hardy.
So hard. I mean, I was just at Mama's house yesterday, and she's got a bunch of bananas. And they're not thinking about, or they haven't pushed yet at all. So
Yeah.
They're not even considering it yet.
Think so.
Yeah, and I was doing some other gardening the other day, walked right on top of the banana mounds because
Did you step on them?
yeah, I did. What?
Yeah. What?
What if they're peeking up and you just broke them?
No,
Don't matter.
The stumps are like fully dormant, dead black stumps right now.
Yeah.
But my heel went through like down into the mound, and there's a bunch of like light humus from all the mulch and stuff over the years that built up.
Oh.
But it got me wondering, like, how much space is in there? And I think about it like I've had some stumps die, and I guess they would just decay and leave a cavity in there. Mm-hmm. So it has me thinking, because I've had those in there for almost 9 years, 10 years maybe now. What does it look like, and should I clean that up and tidy it up and try and dig some of the really old stuff out, or just let it keep going?
Yeah. I'm going to let it keep going, kind of. If it's
Yeah.
not causing an issue, I guess.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Just
You know what I have poking up though?
What?
Like real high. My hosta. They're so big, and I'm worried for their safety because we're gonna get another frost. It's gonna happen.
Maybe.
But they look so good right now. My strip tease, she's shining. She's my shining star.
It is a cool one.
It's the best one. Y'all, if you're listening and you're into hosta and you don't know about strip tease or you don't have it, get it. It is the best performing one, I think, out of all of mine. I probably have like 12 different types.
Nice. I don't have enough shade at all for hosta, so yeah, good luck. You know what I do have though that's painfully annoying?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Tyler.
I know. Oh, I know.
My whole design, not whole design, I'm being dramatic. A part of my design in this little area of my bed is 3 Baptisia that are planted behind a tree-form hydrangea. Other stuff out in front, other stuff to the sides. Three Baptisia, like the hardiest little perennial on the planet. One is dead. It's just not coming back. Why? 2 Baptisia up, already have bloom sets ready to go. Multiple stems, clean and green, look great. Baptisia is so easy, and yet one is dead.
I can't believe you lost one. I have one. I told you that I transplanted it in the fall. I didn't even fully cover it with dirt. It's in there halfway, and it is growing like a machine.
Look, I know this. I know most people's Baptisia is like that. And mine has been growing for 4 years now with no problems at all. Like, everything's fine. This one just died. I was telling Bridget on the lot the other day, I'm like, I'm pretty sure gardening annoys me just as much as it makes me happy.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm serious.
No.
Whenever little things like that happen, or some deer comes in and like ravages a tree or something, it's like the annoyances of gardening. But then at the other end, it's like,
so
you know,
beautiful.
yes, when it's all working. Once I switch out a new Baptisia, because I'm gonna have to, it's gonna drive me absolutely insane.
Oh, and it's not
to
the middle one. If it had been the middle one, it would have been a little bit
A little bit
better.
different if it had been the middle one. I could have maybe swapped up or not even used one, just flanked the whatever. But no, since it's 3, it's gotta be.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You know what? It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
I'm gonna buy me a new one. It's gonna cost me like $10. I'm gonna slam it in.
Listen, Baptisia is the best. I didn't even know about it when I started working here. And for my birthday, the first year working here, which was 2 months in, Austin over here got me a yellow Baptisia. And I was like, what is this? I put it in the ground and I was like, oh my God.
I'm telling you, it's like probably my favorite perennial plant.
It's stunning. I think I have 6 or 7 now
and
planted
like-
all around my landscape.
And pest pressure is minimal, disease pressure is minimal, general livability very high. Mine died. One died.
And yours is the only
Great.
one I know of that's ever died.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
For the
it's like a
sustainable,
shrub.
yeah, for the sustainable minded folks out there too. That was one of the plants when I was like getting into and reading about permaculture that like was a regenerative restorative plant, and that was native. So blue false indigo. And I was really surprised when I found that David first had it. David, I'm sorry. Bates Nursery first
What
had it.
kind of David? I mean, it is his nursery.
David Bates Nursery.
We carry a lot of it. I got one last year that I planted called lemon meringue, I think.
That's the one I've got. That's
Oh,
the
never
yellow.
mind. Then that's not
You
the one I
got-
got. It's like yellow and pink.
Yeah. What was that one called? I forget. There's a lot of new ones
Something
nowadays.
decadence.
That's
that
the
the
series. So like
cherry
the whole
one?
series is like the decadent.
No,
like
cherry was the red.
there's a cherries jubilee.
But well, there was a red yellow, right?
This
Yeah.
one is pink yellow.
Oh,
it's
pink.
like light pink.
There's a
but
number of
y'all, if you don't know about Baptisia, do your research. Go get you some Baptisia. Mine are all poking up. I think all of them are.
I'll tell you what else is poking up, the weeds. God dang.
Oh, I do have
Yeah.
weeds.
Out, y'all. I spent
I've
a
just
long
been
time
pulling.
weeding. Oh, I have it too. I was yesterday hands and knees pulling on rocks. My fingers hurt. But you know what? It's part of it too.
Oh, hey, you know what's blooming?
What?
Ben Tress told us this morning, one of our landscape specialists. His crossvine is starting to bloom.
Oh, yeah. That's
Mine
right.
is
Did say
not
that.
blooming yet, so it
I
seems
don't think
pretty
mine has
early.
even woke up.
I think Ben's lying.
Looks like we're going to have to pay him a little visit tonight to his house and see if he's lying about that, getting attention. But while we're on that topic, I know that Austin and I have had this long-going thing about clematis versus crossvine, and I did tell him, and maybe I shouldn't have said it out loud, but my clematis looks better than my crossvine right now. Like, I'm happier with my clematis right now. I look at my crossvine and I'm like, but I think it's because, like Tyler's, mine hasn't fully woken up. Like, it's still got its leaves, but it's not really growing. Definitely not blooming yet. Again, Ben, are you lying? I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. But my clematis, though, it looks so clean. Those leaves are so glossy. It's already got all of its buds, and it's growing fast. Actually, I
Honest.
need to build another trellis for it.
Which one is it?
No, it's not Fragrant Star. We bought them at the same time and yours died.
Vancouver star?
Yes.
Wow.
That's that kind of whitish blue one.
Oh, I got to transplant mine, y'all. Mine's in like mostly, I think it's, part shade, basically.
Mine
gotta
doesn't
get
get
it
a
out of
ton
there.
of light. Mine is like part.
They can
Part of
kind of
both
live
then.
anywhere.
Last year, mine didn't grow for nothing. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 feet maybe total. Got a few blooms. Of course, I hit it with a weed eater. That doesn't help.
No.
But I thought it was going to go even further.
I mean,
from that
honestly,
point.
mine didn't really perform that well last year. This year it looked way
This
better
year's
than it
better.
did last year because I think this is the 3rd year it's been in ground.
If I would stretch out my kind of the very first one I planted. See, I planted 5, but I planted one the season before, kind of in the corner or whatever, and then I finished off with 4 more later along the wall. Like that big one, the very first one that I planted, if I stretched out those stems, I'm not even joking. You're talking 7 foot tall already. That thing is a growing.
That's how much it's
beast.
grown this year, this season?
Yes, it's already up.
Is that Jack
big.
Manii?
Yes.
Maybe I need one of those.
I'm telling you, it's incredible. I mean, if you're okay with purple, deep, pure purple.
Who wouldn't be okay with that?
I know some
You
people.
wouldn't?
I said, who wouldn't?
Oh, I don't know. Well, some people hate purple.
I know some people.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get
won't
it.
name
But,
them.
God, as a performer, Jack Manii is God, it's the way to go. You know, I even think on Monrovia's tag, it even says, like, still the most superior clematis, like, on the market. Like, it really is. But, anyway, there you go.
Maybe I should give it a try.
Well, other things around my yard, they're motioning to me to wrap it up, and I'm like, well, blueberries are another thing, and strawberries. My strawberries have started to
Yeah,
bloom.
my
here
pears
and
are
there.
blooming. Yeah, everything's in bloom.
Grain's
But let's
coming
go
in.
ahead and get to our broadcast from this last Saturday. And again, if you ever have questions or you want to send photos, gardeninginsideout@gmail.com is the email to send photos, or you can follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and send your weekly questions in. On Friday, the other voices you will hear are David Bates and Josh Carey.
It is spring, guys.
I know,
More
yes.
than just actual spring. The activity level at Bates Nursery is undeniable.
Yes, it's wild
Noticeable.
right now.
It is wild, and it's you kind of you have this one continuous conversation that just drifts from one person to the next, and someone comes in the next day and they go, "You remember yesterday when I?" Maybe, it's a little
Where
difficult.
were you a half an hour ago?
It's a little difficult to
understand.
track that. So if you're talking to us and we seem as though we don't remember, it's because we don't remember. I mean, now we remember the technical nature of what it is, but the specifics of the situation we might have to be refreshed on. So talk about the outdoors. This is our time of year. People, it's Christmas in the nursery industry.
It is. And it's exciting.
It is exciting. And there's a bit of horror associated with it because there's a
Krampus, as it were?
Well, it just means that we really collectively have to be attentive and focused on all of the things going on around us because while there is a lot of really good things that can and do occur, that also makes it easier to make a mistake. So we try not to do that. It's challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest word is observance. Like every day I'm going home and looking at every single plant pretty much
Yeah.
to see like where it's at, where its stage is at. If it's got tiny leaves, if it's starting to get budded up, whatever the stage, like I'm looking at that every day. And I know like normal, people aren't necessarily doing that, but you have to kind of do that this time of year with the weather always in the back of your mind because the weather can change and those little tiny leaves can get messed up a little bit. So really observing right now is something you need to be doing.
Yeah, and it's not just from a tender foliage. We've got these red tip photinias we see down front, and we'll be talking more about what all is in here. But you'll notice that red is extremely young, tender growth. And if you have things they don't have to be red in color to be tender, those new leaves are especially susceptible to the ravages of nature, be it cold, be it pest, be it disease. Those things they don't have much resilience built into them when they're young. So that's why that when walking around the lot and in our yards, we're paying close attention to the stage of what things are, because it gives us the visual cues of what we need to be mindful of and what are the possible and likely problems that can occur depending on what the climate is giving us.
Gotta be watching
Got
Being
to.
mindful. Yeah, I take little garden walks every day when I get home.
every day.
When it's light. And it's so exciting. Everything's growing so fast. My allium is up. My catmint is already like a little shrub.
Nepido.
My switchgrass is pushing up. Haven't cut it yet. So
I know, I need to cut mine too.
it's getting, I'm not ready because it gives me some privacy on my front porch, but
it
it's
also-
about that time.
That walk also might bring bad news because you
Oh, no.
might be walking around in your yard and see that there might have to be some things replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah,
It's very possible.
I
And it
know.
happens to us too. Like we're not immune to that just because we do this for a career. You know, like
Right.
randomly enough,
Yeah, nature,
one hibiscus died on me last year. I had a grouping of 3. One didn't come back. Why? I don't know.
Yeah,
Something
nature,
happened.
nature does not play favorites.
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
does not.
And it can be highly annoying sometimes. And there's stuff that I've got to go in and replace every once in a while too. But like I say, we want to get to saying, y'all, just keep digging.
Yep.
Yep.
Just keep digging, okay?
Yeah,
Something
and-
bad happens, just keep digging.
And are we not seeing a lot of the people come in who rightly waited to see if their plants were going to come out from the previous year's freeze? You know, we had this terrible freeze back in before Christmas in 2022 that, I mean, it was
Awful.
rough.
Yep.
And some people waited and had really good success with things growing back out. Other things, not so much. So the people who did wait, and I think it was a good decision to do that, a lot of those are seeing that, well, their boxwoods are not going to come out, or maybe their laurels or whatever that it
Right.
was in particular that were especially susceptible. So we're seeing a lot of those kinds of folks coming out, and rightly so. You know, if they haven't coming out by now, they're not going to.
No, I don't think so. I lost a couple, but I let them go.
All right.
Let's get to questions.
Okay.
We've got quite a few, and we have a lot about damaged plants that happened probably back in December and some this year. All right, we're going to start with laurels, those little problem child plants. My cherry laurels turned brown in spots from snow and ice. What should I do to help them?
All right. So, yes, this did happen again this year. They didn't lose their leaves totally like they did, you know, with the big freeze event. But this year, they didn't like that cold. They really didn't. So, like, the topmost leaves got brownish, like you're talking about, and they look off color. Really, those leaves are not going to come back and look good again. So if you wanted to strip those individual leaves, like you certainly could. And, you know, you can fertilize. Let's give them some compost or whatever to help down below. Anything you can help down below is going to help up top. And you're going to see the new buds form and send new leaves out that will replace those old-looking yuck leaves. So it's just a matter of time. They're getting ready to come out soon.
And it might be necessary to take your shears and you know, prune back in there 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah.
And they grow. They're such growing machines anyway. There's no detriment whatsoever to shearing them back, particularly if they are the Carolina laurels or the cherry laurels that we have known for many years before the use of skip laurels and English laurels and all those got used a lot in the areas. They are growing machines, so shear them back, get that fertility in check. Whether, like Austin said, either using compost or organic fertilizer would be great, and they're going to come back out fast.
Yep.
So that's really all you got to do.
Mine recovered really quickly from the 2022 freeze from the ground, but they grew pretty quickly. So let's talk about hollies now. There's some hollies that have leaves that have turned brown and dropped on 2 of my hollies, one more than another. Should I be worried? And is this fixable?
Mother Nature will fix it for you, typically. I mean, that holly's, once again, another broadleaf evergreen that can see some damage when we see those temps down in that 0 or even negatives that we saw a little bit. That they can get injured. Okay, injured is the word, though. It's not death. It's injury. So we got to just wait, y'all. It's still just, I mean, I know it's spring, but it is before spring leaf emergence. Okay, so we kind of need to just wait it out, and you're going to see new buds form and push new leaves. I don't see any problem. I don't think your plant's diseased or anything. It's just it took some damage.
Yeah, and one of the things that people need to be mindful of, if you want to save yourself a little work, you know, I talked about trimming on laurels on the previous question, this is the same question. It's just a different species of plant. What you might prefer to do is just wait and see where new growth starts to emerge. That tells you precisely where you need to cut back to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of things that are going to have some dieback. Because here at the nursery, we got to 10 below zero. Now, it didn't get that cold everywhere, but it got below zero almost everywhere in the area. So, because of that, there's going to be some dieback. And just expect it. But it does not mean they're dead.
No.
Just be patient.
You know, it's funny. Right up the road up here, I've been watching a holly since the bad freeze or whatever. It came back, but it came back really tight along that main stem. So it's all these leaves on the interior of the plant, and then there's all these gnarly sticks that are out behind it, and no one's pruned that thing yet. And I'm like, oh, God, people, I want to stop by and prune that for them because there's so much green growth that wants to be
I bet it
out
looks
in the
cool,
light.
though.
No, it doesn't look cool.
I'd leave it.
No,
He wants
It looks
to,
spooky.
but will he?
I won't. And no,
You sure?
Carolina, it
You
does
can
not
have-
look cool. It looks gnarly and like it needs to be fixed.
I feel
Someone
like it
fix that
probably looks
holly.
spooky.
It does look
Cool.
spooky. That's a good word. But no.
And
Get
that's
'em-
neat.
Cut them. Like
Leave
David
'em.
said, it showed you where it leafed back out from. So the rest that's not leafed out.
That's dead.
That's dead.
And you have to look at that every single day
It's awful.
on your
Yeah,
drive.
15
I know.
months
What are
is
these people
long
doing
enough
to me?
wait. You think?
Somehow I
They
feel
are.
like
They're doing something.
They have been avoiding looking at it every day for 15 months.
They probably just don't care. Hey, we got a live question in that pertains to this. So half of my Rose Creek abelia died. The other half looks good. Should I dig it up or wait?
The semi-broadleaf, be patient. That may
again.
just be defoliation. Now, a lot of times, and what's strange about what's a fact that people don't widely recognize is that when they grow these things, they do it with multiple cuttings, and you can have. That's probably a separate cutting from, they grow together. You can't tell that it's two plants, but it actually is. So you may have one that has, because of the direction it faced or whatever, just defoliated. Be patient on it.
Yeah.
Cut the whole thing back. The same rule applies. Wait and see.
Wait and see.
And worst case scenario, prune that one side out.
Yeah.
Let it come back.
And then it all comes back to do you like it or not?
Yeah.
Whether you
Right.
dig it up or not. I mean, that's the thing.
They're a fast grower, so I wouldn't give up on it.
No, Abelia is very hardy. Very hardy.
It's so pretty.
Bye now. I'll be you later.
Oh,
Hey,
that
yeah.
one was good.
We got a live on the Facebook page from Kimberly, and she says, "Hey there,
Hey
hi there. Is it still too soon to plant?"
Just anything?
For most things, no.
No,
No,
trees
Kimberly.
and shrubs. I mean, last weekend, y'all, we just kicked it. We were so busy, and it was almost all trees and shrubs. Like, tons of people were out buying. Now, always, like we said, watch that weather a little bit. If you're buying a red tip photinia that looks like this with the tiniest, most tender growth you can get, if you're going to plant that, watch the weather. If you're going to see something that's going to dip below freezing or even below, say, 35, like, you might want to cover that up if you don't want to lose that, that new foliage.
Just some sheets that you can pull over the top will help tremendously. It's very difficult to overlook a red tip photinium.
I mean,
And if you're starting from seed, it's not going to hurt anything today.
Not likely. I mean, they're probably very tough. Depends on what that is.
Yeah,
but if
it really is.
but if it is a seed that you've started in the ground, well, I'll tell you, if it's a warm season, it hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
It's still a seed.
yeah.
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 And my poppy seeds are coming up, but those are more of a cold weather. And I was excited to see them. They're hard to find.
And the cold weather's not going to, if we have a frost, it's not going to bother
Right, it
them.
won't hurt
They're
them.
very adept at dealing with it. Nature somehow knows these things.
Exactly.
It's wild. Y'all plant some poppies. They're the best and they're low maintenance. All right, we do have another question about pruning. Dragon Prince Cryptomeria has brown tips. Should I prune these off?
Yeah. That happens a lot with Cryptomeria, actually. I mean, it's good. Your Dragon Prince is still up and looking good, but yeah, they do suffer some damage over the winter a lot of times, mainly from the tips, okay? So I've seen it here at the nursery. We overwinter them here, and they a lot of times will get a little bit of brown tips at the end. Nothing wrong with that. Just shear them off or just do hand pruners. Go in there and do it,
Clip.
Yeah, just clip them off. So yeah, you're not going to hurt anything. You're lucky and you're good that your Cryptomeria is still alive and doing well. So now that it's just tip damage, then you're okay. Just prune it off and you'll see new growth soon.
Just make it pretty again. All right, we got a crepe myrtle question live on our YouTube page.
right.
Good morning. I missed pruning my crepe myrtle this year. Is it too late to do it today?
No, do it today. I actually need to do the same thing. I got to get mine pruned up.
Oh, aren't you gonna like create murder?
I'm gonna have to a little bit. Me and Tyler were gonna do a video on it. We haven't got to it yet, but whatever, it's fine. But it's still dormant. Your crepe myrtle is still dormant. Cut it back now. You need to do it.
And they flower on the new growth,
Yes.
so you compromise nothing. Sometimes you just got to rein them in. I have some Natchez crepe myrtle that we planted at my house under some really high power lines. Well, at least they appear to be really high. The Natchez crepe myrtle can get 30 feet tall.
Yes, it can.
The power lines are probably only 27. So every
what
couple
they're-
of years, I have to rein them back in a little bit because our power company needs to keep those out of the lines, and I get that.
And you don't want them trimming it.
They trim differently than I do.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is premeditated crepe murder.
Yes, well, and they don't have to ask you.
Oh,
They're pretty good about letting you know. But
that's first degree.
But that's their job. You know, their job is keeping power on, and so it's our job to go. Okay, I need to be mindful of what their job is, so that I can make my stuff look the way I want it to look.
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix, featuring Garden Premium Topsoil Blend. This essential mix includes Tennessee subsoil, supernatural organic compost, humic acid, and mycorrhizal fungi to create a truly living soil. Garden topsoil is perfect for establishing raised, edible, and ornamental garden beds, as well as for planting trees, shrubs, and other landscape plants. Bulk and super stack options available. Visit earthmix.net to discover their entire line of soils and amendments and helpful blog posts. Success begins at the ground level when you use EarthMix garden products.
Kimberly came back and said perennial flowers is what she was wanting to plant. If you can find them,
I've planted a lot. We've got a lot of our 4-inch right now, but like we talked about with stuff that's in here, some of it is coming from warmer climate, so it's already
little
further
babies,
along.
And I
too,
was
so.
talking with Celeste and Bridget down in the perennials yesterday, and they had sold the last of our hardy ferns. I mean, it's for a couple of days. So if you come out today, we're just out because we sold them all. We're bad for that.
We sold all of our hardy ferns? Wow.
Yes,
Oh, my gosh.
So we have more coming in on Tuesday, though.
Yes.
So there'll be a lot more. So unless something came in that I'm unaware of from about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon,
Don't think
and
I
this
saw a
it's
truck.
not impossible because the truck's rolling here pretty much nonstop.
One after the other during the week. Speaking of one after the other, there's a lot of things that are happening one after the other as they open all around town that you see.
What's in bloom? With Austin.
All right.
Hey, y'all, things are blooming, okay?
Yes, they are.
Here we go. Let's talk about them low flowering things. Hey, creeping phlox is blooming. Those blues, those pinks, those whites that are out in the yard just pop up every year without a problem. That's what you're seeing that's on the ground right now. Creeping phlox. Candy tuft is blooming, which is a nice little mostly evergreen plant that blooms white in the spring. I really love this paired with boxwood. Surprise, surprise. Okay, flowering almonds. You never even thought about a flowering almond, probably. Little bitty shrubs that bloom pink all the way up the stem. Those are blooming right now. Don't you have one?
Yes. My
Still?
mom got it.
Your mom got you the plant, and how's it doing?
You know what? I left it in the pot. I think it might still be alive. I don't know.
Sherry, that
probably
thing's
is.
dead. All right. Big white blooming shrubs. Bridal spirea still in bloom. Quince and forsythia. Those two go hand in hand.
Yep.
They look great. Big, large shrubs. Hey, peaches and weeping peaches. Y'all, they're so good. We got a couple weeping peaches in yesterday. Put them right up front. Pedro, put them right up front. Look at that bloom. Tyler got a picture.
Oh.
Arching stems with double pink blooms. My goodness.
They are outstanding.
Loaded. Love me a peach. Can't help it. Y'all, crab apples are stunning.
They
right now.
are killing it.
Oh,
right
they're
now.
killing it. Really good. It's a different kind of pink out there, okay? It's not like a peach pink. It's not like a cherry pink. It's different. It's like darker, and they are really full clustered up. Crab apples, really good. Hey, we got some nice crab apples on the lot right now. Y'all come out and check. Everybody needs one if you ask
The
me.
whole tree lot looks great over there.
It does look good right now.
Go take a walk in it.
Hey, it's been a red bud spring. Red buds
Yes.
are beautiful. They're beautiful. And also Yoshino cherries. Those two bloom about the same time. The white blooming Yoshinos, my God, y'all.
They are
we went through
cutting
a
up.
frost scenario last week, didn't touch them. Me and David said, we're like, no, don't worry about them cherries. They're going to be fine. And they are. Just didn't even take a hit. Red buds cherries are just full show right now. Good Lord. I love a Yoshino cherry. And Josh Bradford still blooming a little bit.
David,
and regular pears are still blooming. But hey, I'm going to end this with, what's not blooming? Your deciduous magnolias, because they got whacked last week.
Yes, they did.
Done, gone, brown, ugly.
Oh no.
You know what? They'll be pretty again. They're going to shoot leaves here real soon. But
And
no
later,
more blooms.
and later blooming types of deciduous magnolias will still flower.
Yeah, Caroline's got one that she showed me. It reblooms like randomly in the summer. Like,
Yeah, mine blooms at least twice. One year it actually bloomed 3 times. Austin
They're
doesn't
weird.
believe me,
Yeah.
but it did.
I do
happen.
believe you.
You do now.
You should be taking cuttings on that one because that might have some special attributes.
Attributes.
Well, yep.
Yes.
Well, there's all sorts of female names for magnolias. Add Caroline to the list.
Caroline
Take
Magnolia.
some
There
cuttings.
you go.
We already got Jane and Elizabeth. Like, why not?
Might as
why not
well add a Caroline. It kind of fits in. Yeah, but
There you go.
I love my magnolia. I actually had my hickory tree lost a branch and fell on top of it last year. So it's kind of got a hole in it,
Yes.
but it's still okay. It's still doing fine. It's pretty mature.
Fortunately, they are a shrubby, multi-stem type of
Shrubby.
tree by nature. So, it's not unusual that they get, either frozen back or something falls on them.
Or something falls on them. Mine is pretty big.
It is pretty big.
Yeah,
He
I'm bad
said they
with
were
height,
my
but-
Bradford pears, David.
They're yours, Josh,
That
all of
was
them.
that was right on the edge of blasphemy.
Okay.
Let's hop back on our question train
Do
because
it.
we still have a lot. Transplanted a weeping red bud in early October. It is not budding right now. Is it a
Uh-oh.
goner?
Maybe. Not seeing anything. Just like nothing. Not even a spit of a bloom or any leafage at all. Like our red buds on the lot, they're tiny, but they are leafing, just starting to leaf. So you transplanted it, so maybe it's a little late. Maybe it's going to wake up a little later. Don't totally give up on it yet, but it's not good that it's not doing anything yet.
I will say, and it's probably not as small as some of mine on my property, but I have an old red bud and I have little volunteers that pop up in my beds, and I've let some go. And the ones that are only like 3 feet tall, it's like a twig or a couple twigs, aren't doing anything. I
and
know
I
they're
will-
alive.
Yeah, the babies
And-
take a little
Yeah.
while.
And
yeah.
not all transplantings are created equal. I will just say,
Yeah.
you may have dug an undersized ball. You might have let the dirt all break off of the root ball. You might have left it lying out in the sun for a few minutes. There's a whole litany of mistakes that can be made. And I'm not saying that you did, but I'm saying that they're fairly unforgiving if you make the wrong mistakes. And it doesn't necessarily kill them, but it can show signs of things such as late to leaf out and no flowering. So I wouldn't give up on it yet, but
Yeah, and
you might-
flag it next year because there are plenty of them out there in the tree lines in the woods. You can go out there.
And there are very
yeah.
specific guidelines
Yeah.
to go by if you're transplanting something as far as how large a root ball
Right.
that are according to the ANSI standards, the American Nursery Standards Index.
Oh,
yeah.
ANSI.
So those are out there for a reason. Generally speaking, if you're about a 1 foot of root ball for every caliper inch, and that's measured 6 inches off the ground if it's a small tree. So it works into a lot of weight. And a lot of people go, oh, that's too heavy. I can't dig all that. So
But you got to. Hey, while we're on the topic of transplanting, we got a question. I planted my hydrangea in a bad spot. When is the best time to transplant, and when do I fertilize?
All right, so transplanting typically we always talk about is done during dormancy, so through the winter time. Fertilizing is a different thing. That's when it's dropped before they're actively growing. So typically right around now, get your fertilizer dropped, and that will, the plant will be able to use that. I don't know what type of hydrangea you've got, but I'm assuming most hydrangeas are starting to bud and leaf. Not like the end of the world if you had to do it now, but we typically don't recommend that. But, hydrangeas can be still pretty hardy plants. So if you need to get it done, do it. Do it.
Yes.
the one little tip, if you're going to do it now, dig the hole that you're going to transplant it to first. And then, which infers that you've got to know how big the root ball is going to be that you're going to dig out of. So you need to kind of have that figured out. Dig your hole where it goes to first.
Bigger.
Dig it, move it immediately into it, put your backfilled soil mix back in around it, and water it thoroughly immediately. Do not delay. Do not wait. Well, we've got a good rain. Forget all of that.
Yeah.
Water it thoroughly right then. It settles all the air pockets out, and it rehydrates it. So your chances of transplant shock are greatly minimized.
All right. I have a lot of old viburnum on my property, and they do not bloom. Is it too late to fertilize?
It's not too late to fertilize. No, definitely not. Like, it's the time to fertilize now. I don't know why they're not blooming, though.
That sounds strange.
That's
Maybe
They like
excessive
sun?
shade.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe excessive shade. Maybe.
You know, that's one of the things that changes a lot that we frequently don't realize, because these big trees keep growing, and what was a lot of light maybe 6 or 7 years ago now is a whole lot more shade. So perhaps that's a part of the equation.
And also, too, there's a number of viburnums that bloom off of that old wood. So if you're doing any pruning over the wintertime, you could potentially be cutting off those flower buds that would have been produced through the winter and then bloom. So that maybe could be a thing.
There's that.
Colin on our Facebook page says the segues just keep getting better and better. LOL. Thank you, Colin.
You should spell
Good
check
morning,
that, though. That's
Colin.
what I was checking to see his spelling is correct. 'Cause he's got good balance anyway.
So let's go ahead and segue into our next question.
Okay.
Oh, is there anything to do now to keep Rose Rosette at bay? And that comes from our good friend Miriam. Good morning, Miriam.
Miriam, you're awake.
Miriam, you're awake. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're awake. You did it.
Miriam, you can preventively spray, I guess, roses to make sure that the mite. So it's a tiny mite that makes rose rosette happen.
And
It's
we
the
don't
vector.
mean maybe.
Over.
Yeah, no, it does. But unless you're really on top of insecticides and constantly doing that, like almost every 2 weeks or so, like it's kind of hard. Like that little tiny mite gets in there before you ever know it. It's so small. Once you've got rose rosette, as y'all probably know, it doesn't go anywhere. It's a virus. It's not something we can change. So, Miriam, that depends on how much work you want to do, how much money you want to spend on insecticides, and really how much you want to spray insecticides. Like, I'm not big on that. Like, I'm sorry, if rose rosette happens, it's like, well.
But the good thing
It
about
happens.
it, if you have an affected rose with rose rosette, you can simply get it out and remove any of the affected plants, and then you can
And the leaves.
then you can immediately replant. You don't have to wait.
No.
But if you can take some preventive action, insecticides are the best way to do it. But mites are probably not going to be all that well controlled by use of things like insecticidal soap.
No.
That's great for aphids, but it won't do much for mites. Dormant oil is great, will do all right on mites, but they're already actively growing,
Right.
so they're not dormant.
That's the thing.
So it's a little tough.
Yeah, it's hard to prevent. It really is. Thanks, Miriam.
Sounds a little bit scary. Yeah.
Is that
Thank
the
you,
one we need?
Miriam.
Is
Good
that,
question.
is that one of them that we need to clean our shears on too? Or on our
That's
clippers?
always a good practice.
Yeah, I never
Do
heard-
that.
alcohol.
Just do that without thought to what you're pruning next or anything else. But yes, cleaning your shears is a part of having effective pruning, because you can't make a good clean cut if you've got a lot of sap resin that's dried
Right.
or it's beginning to make sticky. So you wind up making wounds that are not clean. So if you have nice, sharp, clean shears, it just makes life so much better.
It really does.
Hey, Caroline, Barbara wants to know. She says she bought a small potted oxalis. It's struggling. How can she help it?
Cut it back. So with my oxalis,
Struggling.
I find that this time of year, if you buy them at like the grocery store, if you get them at your nursery center, they were probably blooming when you got them. And with mine, it seems like mine will bloom. They'll be gorgeous. They'll get a little bit leggy and start to look sad and drop some of their leaves. So I'll usually just give it a cut all the way back to the soil line, and they'll flush out really well. Now, they can handle some full sun. You think that they want a lot of shade. You can get them into a little bit of morning light to get some direct sunlight, and then they'll get a little bushier and be more full. So once you cut them back, if you do decide to do that, they'll flush out. If you don't want to cut them back, you can just remove anything that looks a little sad, water it thoroughly, just soak it, and maybe get it into a little bit more sunlight. But I do find that just a good haircut all the way down to the dirt does really well with these.
Hey, and after you cut it, eat it. It tastes
And
funny.
after you cut it,
What?
eat it.
It tastes funny.
Yeah.
I love the taste. Me and my little brother used to eat it as a kid. It was weed in the yard, but it tastes real good to me.
It's called it's what we used to refer to as sour grass.
Yeah.
You know,
That old sour grass. Yeah, I like that. It tastes good.
Yeah.
Oxalic acid.
Oxalic acid.
Yeah.
Let's talk persimmon trees, y'all.
No,
Someone just picked up some persimmon trees.
talk about making you pucker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have one that fruits every year, and I don't really enjoy the fruit that I get off of it. It looks cool though,
Wait until
and the
after
animals
the
like
frost.
it.
Wait until after the frost. Get them really good and cold before you eat them.
And then go for it.
Yeah,
well,
babe.
this person wants to know any tips and tricks we might have on them.
I mean, that's a native plant around
Yes.
here in our woods. So, I mean, they live here very well. And they actually grow faster than you think they would. Like, Anne in the office has been growing a persimmon tree for, like, I think 3 or 4 years now. And hers is big.
Yes.
So, not too much added things besides just getting it planted. Now, getting more than just one is something that's very helpful with getting a lot more fruit. So, planting a stand of 3 or so, say 15, 20 feet apart from each other and just designating a part of the yard for them is always helpful. More pollen, more fruit, it's all better.
And since they don't make golf clubs out of them anymore, they're not as endangered as
Well,
they
and trust me, folks, if once it gets started producing, you are going to have a bit of a mess.
and you're going to have deer.
And,
yes,
oh,
a
yeah.
lot.
That's best
Deer
treat.
love them.
And so do corgis.
Tons.
Aw.
Well, corgis, absolutely. No, they just, yes, it's
Corgis are so tough to figure out.
There's tons of deer hunters that come out here actively seeking persimmon just to
Yes.
bring in deer. It's very helpful.
Huh, I did not know that when I planted one.
Sounds like the name of a movie, Actively Seeking Persimmons.
Actively seeking persimmons.
That was
It really
Susan.
does.
Oh, okay.
No, I was desperately seeking persimmons. Okay, it would be what it was.
Hey, we've mentioned some native plants, so we're going to take a little switch. Best
Okay.
native plants to help with erosion.
Oh, you know where I'm going with
I
this.
know exactly where you're
Switchgrass,
going.
easy
Yep.
on this. I mean, it's like literally used for erosion control. And y'all know I love switchgrass, and it's a native grass. It's awesome. Like, that's what I'm using. I'm not even going anywhere else.
And if you ask Bridget, you'll get the same answer.
Definitely.
There may be areas that separate horticulturally the views that you, Austin, and Bridget have, but switchgrass is not one of
No.
them.
No.
We love our switch together.
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Spring is at our doorstep, and if your plans involve improving your landscape or starting a garden, then Bates Nursery is the essential place for what you need. They offer the largest selection of plants in the Southeast, from unique flowers and trees to tropicals, roses, houseplants, and native plants. Bates Nursery's 92 years of serving Nashville gives them unparalleled experience in stocking the plants that perform best for your home. Their friendly staff of horticulture experts are ready to assist you with your gardening needs. Located minutes from downtown Nashville in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee, just off Briley Parkway at exit 19. Shop inventory online before you visit at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932. Okay, do I need to prune PW pillar hibiscus?
PW pillar.
Proven winners.
Proven winners.
Yeah.
Pillar, that being Althea. Okay, we're talking.
Look at you thinking that. I wish we were on Austin's face. He closed his eyes really tight.
I had to really
Like,
think.
oh.
Rosa Sharon is what you're talking about. If you need to prune it, prune it. Yes. I mean, is it too big? If it's too big, prune it. We talk about this all the time, but they bloom off new wood. It doesn't matter how you cut it. It's going to send new stems up, and it's going to bloom on this year's current wood, or last year's wood and this year's wood. So if you need to get it back in check, certainly get it back in check. It's time to do it. Rosa Sharon has not woken up yet, so get it pruned up.
Let's talk about some bulbs. We had someone that forgot about some fall bulbs that they have. Can I still throw them in the ground?
Throw them in the dirt.
Throw
Why
them in
not?
the. If you have them,
Rather
go ahead and
dig
do
a
it.
hole. I mean,
Slam them in the earth.
You didn't throw it hard enough. Throw it again.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I'd say go ahead and do it. I don't know that you'll get any flowers this year. Maybe you still will.
If they
But-
were pre-chilled, possibly so, because that you've had dormancy built in on the front end if they've been pre-chilled, and we won't get into that whole
Right.
discussion right now, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Get them in the ground.
Go ahead and do it. I had some that I planted late, and I planted them because I had them, and they did way better in ground. And I tried to let some go dormant in a closet. Those all shriveled
They'll
up.
just
they were gone.
dehydrate.
Yeah.
You'll get
It
nothing for
didn't-
sure if
it
you
did
leave them
not
in the
work.
closet.
So stick it in the ground. All right. Can you plant daffodil and tulip bulbs in pots? Yes, you can. I did that last year. They looked fantastic, but then they did not come back this year. All right. We got a question on our Facebook page. Do you have experience with New Dawn roses in partial sun, some shade, in a northwest facing house? That would probably be on, not in.
Yes,
I've
and it's
heard they
not
do well
good.
in partial shade. It seems like they need a lot of sun. I had a New Dawn. It actually got rose rosette, but it was in full sun, and it did great in full sun. So
Yeah, I don't think any rose does well in very much shade at all.
He doesn't really want it, no. Now, New Dawn is our best-selling climbing rose. I once saw a picture of a 3-story home with New Dawn climbing to the top of it.
Yes.
Out in Dixon County. That was incredible.
She gasps.
Oh,
that
my
sounds
God.
amazing.
Yeah. So roses in some more shade will stretch even further. That's what they're really reaching for the sun. So that's probably what you'll see, and you may not get the flower production that you want, but it'll probably live. But you may, full sun's definitely better for roses.
Yeah,
That's one of the worst things you could hear from Austin. It'll probably live.
probably live.
If it lives ugly,
That's
what's
not
the
ideal.
point? Yeah, that's my thing.
Speaking of things you hear from Austin, best boxwood variety for cold snaps.
All right,
I know
Green
which
Velvet,
one.
still
Yep.
my bestseller. It's on my home. They look picture perfect. They're flushing right now, y'all. Oh my God, they're flushing.
It's my favorite, and mine has never taken a hit with all the weird weather we've had the last couple years.
Yeah, very cold hardy variety. You know which one you shouldn't plant? Justin Brower's. I'm so mad at him. I'm
So mad.
at him.
It's okay.
Barbara wants to know, is it time to cut back butterfly bush?
Yes. Get it done.
Do it, Barbara.
It's
Do it, Barb.
it is a flowerer on new wood.
That's right.
Get it done. All right, I've
Get
been
her
eyeing
done.
a Jane Magnolia. Is it worth it? Yes,
Yes.
it is worth it, even if it takes a hit. Why are you closing your eyes like that?
Just because of the frost that gets it every year.
It's still worth it. Like the buds, when they're on there, they open. And if the frost gets it, it's fine. And like mine does, mine reflowers.
Okay.
And I feel like mine's not the only one that does. So maybe
I don't see that to be a prevalent trait, so I still think you should be isolating that. And,
Yes.
Look, I
Protect it
like
as
Jane
much as you
Magnolia
can.
too, y'all. I like it. It's a beautiful bloomer, but get ready to be disappointed sometimes.
I love it.
Yeah, how does
3 out of
yours
4
look
years, yeah.
right now? I'm sure it looks real good right now.
It's a little bit brown
dead
right now.
mummies of flowers dangling atop
But
the
the
plant.
leaves are starting to come out, and even like the bark of the tree to me looks really good. Like it's a very pretty tree.
Is its
Don't
bark
me.
Is its bark worse than its bite? Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question as far as these blooms dying.
Yeah, tip your waiters. and
I say
waitresses
it's worth
every
it.
year, all
I
week,
say
yes.
do it.
I
You know
agree.
which one I really want is the yellow deciduous magnolia. What is that? Something butterfly?
There's two of
Butterflies
them.
or yellow bird.
Yellow bird.
Yellow bird paired with what's the black one? Those look just
just-
great.
There's a
together.
black one?
There's
Well,
a
black tulip.
It's like purple,
Oh.
deep purple.
Yeah, there's one. Oh, what's it called? Not Vulcan. There's one that's super deep.
Vulcan?
Those planted together are really stunning,
Yeah.
and they do flower later, so you're less susceptible to freeze damage.
Yeah.
So they don't live long and prosper.
They could.
They do.
They might.
Okay, they might.
It might happen.
Yeah.
Let's talk passion flower.
Oh.
My passion flower died. Do they always go completely dormant in the winter? The native one does. I've seen that one go dormant. I know Tyler's got one in a pot right outside the green room.
It's
and it's
dirt
just
right
a
now
stick
still.
right now, but I bet it's going to flush back out.
They are decidedly a warm weather plant, so
Hot.
Yes.
It'll come back. It'll
Hot
come back.
weather.
Once it warms up, it'll
They
say,
explode.
"Here I am. I'm ready to go." Oh,
Music.
Valerie
There
loves
it
her
is.
Jane. Valerie loves her Jane Magnolia.
Good.
yes, Valerie. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, music means that this hour has flown by.
it certainly has.
But next Saturday morning, we'll come back and do another one. Hey, tune in. Watch for the podcast all week long and listen to it as you drive home or go to school or working around the
Wednesdays.
Wednesday is podcast.
Get your
drop
questions
day.
out there, you
Yep.
know, and you can
Send pictures to the email address. And that is what, Caroline?
gardeninginsideout@gmail.com.
Absolutely, because we want to show your successes. If you've got a problem, we need to see that a lot of the times as well. So that's the best way for us to do so.
Yep.
Hey, for everybody here at Gardening Inside Out, we thank you for participating in the program. Like us, share us, tell the whole world, because we want to be here to service you. Hey, next week we'll be here from Bates Nursery for Gardening Inside Out.
Just keep digging.
Digging.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.